welcome to my kitchen. In our last recipe video, we visited the western part of Nigeria and we made one of their soups called Obeata, aka Omiobe. If you're yet to watch that video, I'll be leaving a link for you in the description section below, or it will be right here. You can go ahead and check it out and see if you learned one or two things and leave me feedback if you tried it. So today's recipe video, we'll be learning how to make Ofe Okazi. Let me let you in on a little secret. This is my first time making this Eastern soup, Ofe Okazi. I had to scout through the internet to find how to make it, and I decided that I was going to show you my first time experience of making this soup. It's just a way of encouraging you that you can do anything if you set your mind to it. I hope you're going to give this recipe a try, because truly for a first timer, it was really the bomb. I'll be showing you exactly the way that I made it. And yes, like I said, it's my first time. It mustn't be perfect, but perfection is boring. So let us get onto the work table and start cooking.
Let's meet the game players. You need 1 to 1.5 pound salted meat, a handful of stock fish, 2 large sizes of dry fish, a quarter cup of palm oil, 1 tablespoon of dried pepper, 1 tablespoon ogirisi paste, 1.5 tablespoon of crayfish, 1 tablespoon salt or to taste, 1 tablespoon uziza leaf, 1 seasoning cube, and 1 cup fresh okazi leaf. In case you missed all that, here are the ingredients. Let's proceed. I added my meat into a clean pot, topped my contents with water, dropped in my seasoning cubes, sprinkled in my salt, covered it up, and began cooking the meat. While that is doing its thing, I combined my herb and spices into the mortar, and pounded them with a pistol. Till I got a somewhat smooth paste as shown, and then set it aside. Some minutes later, I checked on my meat for doneness. I noticed my meat was still very tough. Thus, I continued cooking. Some minutes later, gang, my meat is finally done to my liking. I used this powder called achi as thickener. However, I dissolved this powder with some of the stock. I did this to prevent lump formation that can occur if I just sprinkled the powder into the stock when it is time. Can you see that lump here? Make sure you dissolve it properly and then set it aside. Next, I went ahead to make my soup stock by adding my palm oil. You will notice I added little by little because you just need enough to give it flavor and color. I will show you the color I was aiming for later on. I then added my ground pepper, followed by my leftover crayfish powder. Remember the paste I made? That too goes into the pot at this stage. I made sure I got everything in the mortar by using some of the stock to rinse it out. And then added it into the pot. Nothing, I say nothing, must waste. Then I went ahead and added in my cleaned stock fish. Before I added in the dry fish, in order to minimize potential vigorous stirring that will scatter the fish, which is not my aim, I stir together the contents at this moment to further create space for the dry fish. I carefully added in my dry fish at this stage. For this particular occasion, I wanted it to be a special soup day for my hubby and wanted the fish to be as intact as possible. I topped the content with some water and gently tried to submerge the dry fish into the stock as careful as I can be. I want you to take a note of the oil color now. You will see the difference when it has mixed up with all the other ingredients added. Once submerged enough, I covered the pot and allowed it to simmer to properly mix everything together and get a very rich soup base. After about 10 to 15 minutes of simmering, it is time for me to thicken the soup up with my achi powder. But first, let me show you the color difference at this stage. It should be like a light mustard yellow color after simmering. Again, to keep my fish intact, I carefully take out the dry fish and set aside before stirring in my dissolved achi. Because the thickness is on personal preference and not to go overboard with the achi, I added it bit by bit and allow it to simmer for like 2 to 3 minutes in between. Remember, there is no ori for life, oh, so I took my time. Some couple of minutes later, my soup has thickened to my likeness. So it is time to stir in my okazi leaf. Again, I went in little by little. I just want it in between, not too much and not too little. Once I was satisfied with this, I then carefully placed back my dry fish into the soup. I covered it up and allowed it to simmer for another 2 to 3 minutes. Voila! My Ofe Okazi is ready.
Welcome back. I hope you had fun watching this video. If you tried this recipe out, leave me a comment in the section below. And if you've cooked this particular soup in the past for yourself, and there is one or two things that you can suggest to me for my next try, I'll gladly appreciate your constructive criticism. So leave that also in the comment section below. Until next time, when I see you guys again, let's learn and cook together. Bye! Know that I can do better. So what I decided to get was this tripod, and hopefully I'll be able to get better content.